Well, hello again, sports fans. This is the latest comparative test of my RSSI ProTrack and Quantum Overlord antennas. This is my test rig with both antennas on a tripod. They're both recording through individual DVRs, and the signal from the DVRs is being fed into this Eagle Eyes base station and then fed to the monitor, so I can switch between the two feeds if I need to. I've actually modified my Overlord so that the antennas on the front actually have overlapping beams, which gives me broader coverage for my long range flight. The downside of this is that it reduces the coverage on the sides, but that's not really a problem for me normally because I'm normally flying straight out and straight back. Once again, I'll be flying my old faithful Teximo. The wind's coming from the right, it's a bit gusty, and the sun's fairly low in the sky, so once again the video quality isn't fantastic because of the shadowing. So I've slipped the Teximo into return to home mode while I wander over to the base station and get myself organised. So the plan is to head out almost due west to that range of hills, which is just over 2 kilometres away, and then turn left and try and maintain that 2 kilometres distance from home while I go around in a complete circle, and that will hopefully identify any dead spots in either of the antennas. I have the overlapping section of the Overlord facing my current line of flight, and I won't be altering that. So I'm expecting the weakest coverage to be coming from the south and north quadrants of the sky. I've managed to remember to turn the DVRs on, so as you can see we have the feed from the ProTrack on the left and the Overlord on the right, and so far there have been no problems at all, and not that I really expected any. And I'm just, as I said, heading straight out towards the range, and I'll turn to the south, which is left, when I get out near the 2 kilometre mark. So I actually start to turn at about 1500 metres. The screen's so dark I'm a little bit worried about getting too close to the range. And as I come round to the south, the sun gets behind me and I can actually see what I'm doing on the monitor, which is a bit of a relief. I've got my intended 400 metres of altitude, but I always find that when I'm flying towards the mountain here, I unconsciously pull back on the elevator a little bit just to make sure I clear these foothills. So I think I end up at about 600 metres on this leg of the circle. But so far no problems with either antenna. The videos are nice and solid from both. So I'm out at the 2 kilometres, and I start to turn east to continue the circuit at around about that 2 kilometre mark. Still getting good video from both antennas. I start to shed a bit of that extra altitude I picked up on the way past the mountain, so heading back down to the 400 metre mark. So I'm pretty well due south of home, and this is where I expect to have some troubles with the Overlord, if I'm going to have troubles. This is the area where I've cut back on the antennas for my modification. I actually get a little bit lost here following that power line track, and I turn back towards the west more than I'd intended until I realise what's happened and start heading back out east. I've lost a little bit of distance, and I'm in the process of making that back up when I start to get a little bit of glitching from the Overlord, and it's as I suspected in the south-southeast quadrant, as you can see on the screen. So it gets a little bit snowy and drops out a little bit. No problem from the protrack, of course. So I think this is pretty well down to my modification. I don't think you'd be seeing this on a unmodified Overlord at this range. So the Overlord signal improves as I go further east, which is actually putting the plane in behind the modified section of my antenna. So this is being picked up by the two rear antennas, which I haven't altered at all. So I'm just turning north here to follow the course of the river. So this leg of the circuit is behind me. The protrack antenna is obviously tracking me, but the Overlord's just picking me up from the rear facing antennas, as I said, which I haven't altered at all. So I'm starting to angle back towards the west a bit, which brings me into that south-southeast quadrant, as you can see on the radar. And once again, the Overlord has a little bit of a dropout, which again confirms, I think, that it's in that dead zone that I've created. But it doesn't last very long; it flies through it fairly quickly, and the signal comes back. So the battery voltage is starting to sag a bit, so I decide to take it easy, and I just slip the Texumo into return to home and just watch for a while. As you can see, it's getting a little bit of a buffeting from the wind. I'm heading pretty well straight into it, and the speed's about 15k slower than it was on the way south. The same throttle setting, so that gives us some idea of how much it's blowing. So the video is still good from both antennas. The poor old big AL autopilot that I use is getting a bit of a workout, but doing its job. Everything's going fairly well. I'm starting to get a few slight glitches from the ProTrack as I get close to home, and I think that's really just because of the altitude that I've got. I'm up at 400 metres and I'm pretty well flying over the top of the antenna. The Overlord's doing a bit better at this point, but I've actually angled the central cloverleaf antenna off to one side, but on the ProTrack it's sitting straight up and down, so I think that's the only difference. So I take manual control again and fly it down to a more reasonable altitude. A couple of little glitches, but nothing serious at all. I really don't have any more problems with either of the antennas. There are a couple of little glitches when I do my approach from the south, but they're all, as I said, due to the modifications I've made. So I bring it in for a lowish pass just to see how hard the landing's going to be into the wind, but it doesn't seem to be too bad at all. So there you go. Once again, I find myself unable to really point to one antenna as being better than the other. I think the ProTrack did better on this test than the Overlord, but only because I've messed around with the Overlord and given it a couple of dead spots out at each side. The dropout on the ProTrack when it flew overhead, I think all I've got to do is bend the cloverleaf antenna off to one side and I'll eliminate that as well. So it looks like I'm going to have to wait for that long range test to really be able to draw a line between them. So hopefully it won't be too far away.